So in this video, I'm going to discuss if certain CBI passports are a banking flag or a travel flag, meaning when you spend so much money, so much capital, hard-earned money in purchasing one of these passports, does this even make your life any easy, or this actually puts you in the spotlight and creates red flags? So I'm going to cover this topic in a lot more detail. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, my name is Jay, and here we discuss investments that lead to residencies and citizenships and all the news related to CBI programs. So if you haven't subscribed, take a moment and subscribe to my channel so you're always updated on the latest and greatest regarding any of the programs. I cover CBI news, price reductions, new opportunities, and a whole lot more. So make sure you are subbed. The first news brief I'd like to share is about Les Khan. So Les Khan, for those of you who don't know, he was the head of the CIU unit. He personally oversaw a lot of the due diligence process. All of 2022, he assured the CBI community that their product is platinum and they run the best due diligence check that you can ever find with any CBI option, right? So a lot of credibility, a lot of heavy emphasis on the strictness of the due diligence process. Now, all is that good? The latest news as per the SKN News article here is that Les Khan was alleged to be involved in an alleged scam worth US 165 million from a prison construction project. So what this article talks about is how funds from the CBI pool were utilized for personal benefit and invested in the US. Now, the article also points out that Les Khan spent most of his time in the US. A lot of marketers try to bluff you by selling you this gimmick that it's a bad country, don't invest in the US, you'll face tax issues, or it's a horrible country, it's an unsafe country, leave the US, get one of these passports and run to some gray listed country or whatever it is. So people try to pitch, a lot of marketers try to convince you. Here is an example of an acquisition for the head of the CIU, where the article talks about him spending most of the time in the US and investing the CBI funds in the US. Now, again, this is an allegation. We don't know whether this is true or not true, so we will leave it at that. But the assurances were that the due diligence process is platinum brand. It's a great due diligence process, and we really hope and sincerely hope that that's how it was done, even during his tenure. So this is the slight negative news. On the positive side, in comes Mr. Michael Martin, and he has assured that the same high quality due diligence process would be followed. In fact, even better, he has made a couple of key changes. One is that the process is going to run much faster, which is a big advantage to the CBI community. The second major change is that the price has been slashed from 150 to 125. So now you're committing less funds to the pool. So again, you're getting the same or even better due diligence as assured previously by Les Khan. But here now you're getting it much faster and you're committing even less funds. So it's always a good thing. Now, this channel was one of the first channels to announce the price reduction on the SKN option. And in future, I'm going to track price reductions across these CBI programs. So if you are interested in instantly getting notified, then make sure you do two things. One is hit the bell notification and subscribe, so you are instantly notified of any changes the moment they happen. Now, the next topic is the most important topic. If purchasing one of these items or passports or citizenships, is it going to create a banking flag or is it going to create a travel flag? Well, let's look at the FinCEN advisory from the US to financial institutions across the world. And this is a 2014 publication, and you can read the entire dossier on the FinCEN website. It's a US government website. It's a publicly available document. I'm only going to read the first line of this article, which says passports obtained through St. Kitts and Nevis by investment program used to facilitate financial crime. So again, the article goes in depth on the different use cases, permutation combinations, and some instructions that are out there to financial institutions to look for certain indicators. And again, you can read the entire article on the US government website. This is not legal, investment, tax, or finance advice. This is educational content. This is news content, my personal opinion and analysis on this topic. Now, does this create a red flag? Well, not necessarily. If you go to a bank and if you, let's say, flash SKN passport or any other CBI passport. Now, there are a lot of marketers who keep flashing these passports on YouTube, and they convince you how credible and how reputable this document is, which it might be. Again, we don't dispute that, but there are certain things that you want to keep in mind, because I'm assuming you want to make your life easy when you purchase these documents. You don't want it to be the other way around. You don't want to appear as if you're doing something wrong when you're actually not. So there are certain things, certain facts that you need to be aware of. Maybe these products are great and they work great for some people, and it could be a great solution in certain circumstances. But at the same time, you also need to be aware of the flip side. You need to be aware of the news. You need to be aware of what countries are doing, how they're monitoring this, and what are the notifications that they're sending to different financial institutions and travel agencies. One of the biggest sweeping changes that the US did was immediately terminate the E2 access from CBI passports. Let's say you purchase this and you have not lived in the country of your CBI, that E2 access has now been terminated. So programs like Turkey, Grenada, Macedonia, Montenegro, these type of programs that sell CBI passports, their E2 access has been terminated. Vanuatu lost its Schengen access, and there's recent conversation about other access to be reviewed, etc. And that's a discussion for another time. But let's get back to this one. Think about this, right? When you go to a bank and when you flash a CBI passport, the banking person instantly knows that you're not obviously from that country, because your passport is going to mention your nationality, etc. So what is the reason why you're flashing a CBI passport? The clear assumption is that you might have a second passport. So the first thing is they're going to check what other nationalities you have. What are you trying to do? Maybe certain bankers might be interested in asking you questions like, why are you using this passport for banking purposes, etc. Again, that's a very subjective thing. It's based on which bank you're headed to and what type of transaction you're doing. But especially when you're navigating gray listed countries and trying to do stuff, then these are the things that you need to be aware of. Now, if you're not doing anything wrong, eventually, even if there is scrutiny, even if they check every single detail from your profile, you should be clear, because again, you have not done anything illegal. This is the pay for passport scheme. The country accepts this as a legal method of obtaining a passport. So in their jurisdiction, you haven't done anything wrong. You've just paid money and you've gotten this passport. Now, is this passport good for travel? Again, the same deal. Unlike a lot of marketers who keep flashing these documents, the border guards are very well aware of what a CBI scheme is. It's a pay for passport scheme. So once you turn up with this passport, obviously they would be curious in knowing whether it's to circumvent your home country requirements, whether, is everything clean. So as long as they're satisfied, and this is regular scrutiny, right? They do this all the time for any traveler, and especially if there's something out of the ordinary. When you turn up with a passport and you're not from that country, they would be interested in making sure everything is in order. That doesn't mean that this travel document has any issues. It's perfectly normal. But as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you're doing the right thing, as long as you're not misusing any of these documents, then from a travel perspective, it might be okay, it might be fine. Now, it's very important to find some credible experiences of people who have traveled with these documents. Don't just go to YouTube and see a flashy video and make analysis based on that information. Real data, real experiences from real people matter a lot. So you should always be on the lookout for genuine information and not marketing gimmicks. Now, regarding the banking, well, based on why would a person use a CBI passport in a bank, let alone using CBI passport in gray listed countries. But simply if you're turning up at a bank and if you're using a CBI passport, there must be a reason why you're trying to do that. As long as your reasons are genuine, as long as your reasons are legitimate, even if there is scrutiny based on the directions to financial institutions to vet customers or do an enhanced due diligence process. And again, this is very bank specific. And the article that I discussed is an article published by the US FinCEN in 2014. I'm sure there are updated instructions to banks, so always make sure you follow the latest news, the latest instructions. So banks will go off of those guidances. These guidances keep changing as these programs evolve, as new things keep getting added. There's more instructions, more information, more guidance to these banks. But at the end of the day, as long as you're using some common sense, as long as you are using a CBI passport to open bank accounts for genuine purposes, after all the scrutiny, you should be fine. But if you're thinking of doing anything wrong, anything illegal, trying to hide anything behind, and you're thinking that a CBI passport is going to mask any of the wrong activity, don't be foolish, don't be stupid. That is the first thing that it's going to uncover if you're up to anything like that. Therefore, it is very important to be aware of all the reputations involved with any of the products you're purchasing. My personal favorite options are genuine, solid residencies that have connections and ties to the country, and passports which are obtained through very genuine means. That doesn't mean that I undermine or criticize or don't like any of the CBI options. They are good. There are a lot of savvy people who are unable to obtain passports through other means. So for them, if you're looking for pure passport collection, then some of these items are good. Now, St. Kitts and Nevis has done great with the 125K. Hopefully, other CBI programs also come up with good sales in 2023. So these passports become more affordable for people who want to collect these. But when you're using these passports for either travel or banking, these are some of the points you should always keep in mind and then do what you're doing. Well, I would like to end with Happy New Year to all. Hopefully 2023 is going to be a great year for me, for you, and the community. Catch you in the next one.